Hey guys, this is a segment from the Slumpbuster Podcast. You can find the full episode on any of the various podcast platforms, or of course, subscribe to us on YouTube for more of our content. Other than that, guys, sit down, bust a slump, and enjoy. Okay, well, let's talk about the biggest surprise out of the AFC last year, the Tennessee Titans. The man that composed our theme song, Bigger Than Goliath, go check him out at official Bigger Than Goliath. He's a big-time Titans fan. He's expecting big-time production from this team. Although they finished second in the division, they finished only second in the AFC overall as it came down to them losing to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game after spotting those Chiefs a 10-point deficit. Now, what has been the biggest news for the Tennessee Titans? Well, they gave Derrick Henry a big deal, 4 years, $50 million, 25 guaranteed. They also gave a 4-year contract to quarterback Ryan Tannehill, 4 years, $118 million with over $90 million in guarantees. Tannehill has been perfectly okay throughout his career, missed 24 games between 2016 and 2017. He missed a full season in there with an ACL tear. He came into last year's camp behind Marcus Mariota and managed to challenge him all training camp to the point where after a slow start, it became known that he was just a better quarterback for them to have on the field. He does more things. He takes more shots. He was able to bring out the best of players like A.J. Brown. Even Corey Davis showed flashes last year when he hadn't previously. He did let people walk, though. Jack Conklin, who was a staple on their offensive line, he's gone. Logan Ryan, who's one of the better slot cornerbacks in the league, he's gone. They traded away Jarrell Casey to the Denver Broncos for a 7th. So although they kept a couple players and paid a couple players, they also lost guys that they've counted on. Dre, what do you think about the Titans coming off of last year's surprise season?
Actually still, feeling pretty good momentum out of them. Maybe I'm a little bit too high, but I think A.J. Brown can still do a fantastic job. Derrick Henry, of course, we already mentioned. And then Tannehill, hopefully he shows just more consistency. Like you said, I think a lot of it was injuries sort of derailed him in Miami and just other issues. So hopefully this is a better spot for him. I do worry, though, is that they overused Henry a lot in last year's playoffs, right? Like that was essentially their formula for winning. So hopefully he's not wore down. So I actually have this team, though, going 12-4. So maybe I'm a little bit too high. Adam, what about you?
So I'm kind of on the same boat with you there. I have them going 11-5. Another team that's going to start hot, I believe they're going to start at 7-3, and then they're going to face a little more competition on the back half of their schedule. I think they're going to carry the momentum over as well, just like you were saying, Dre. A lot of people are wondering, can Derrick Henry keep up this momentum? I don't see why he couldn't. I feel like Derrick Henry has now maybe hit his pocket in the NFL now. I know he's been in the league for a few years, but don't be surprised if Derrick Henry leads the league in rushing again next year. It wouldn't be a surprise. You got to look at how Ryan Tannehill is going to play, though. Of course, he got the big payday in the offseason, so you got to hope he doesn't crack under the, the big payday like we've seen, Jared Goff do and Carson Wentz. Wentz is good when he's healthy, but when he can stay healthy type of thing. And then A.J. Brown is arguably the best sophomore receiver coming into the NFL this year. I know there's Terry McLaurin, but I have the Titans having a good season this year. Last year was a surprise, of course, to everybody, but I think they can keep the momentum. Like I said, going 11-5, they're going to start off hot at 7-3, but finish the season at 11-5.
I have this team actually starting a little bit slower and finishing the year strong as it went on. Because the Titans actually do this unique thing every year where it's almost they forget that Derrick Henry is on their team. Yeah. And then they start handing the ball 20 to 30 times a game, and he just starts running over people. Again, later in the year, people are less inclined to make that decision when they know their teams are out of the playoff races. But less people want to stand in front of that man when he drops a trailer and starts running. My concern for Derrick Henry, and maybe this is more of a fantasy football take, is his lack of involvement in the passing game. I think that has always been one of his biggest detriments in terms of his career and overall his fantasy upside. In terms of the actual play and in terms of the actual game, I do think that one of the positives of Ryan Tannehill is he made the Tennessee offense a little bit less one note. They can throw the ball. They can add a variation.
They'll take shots down the field.
Exactly. With Marcus Mariota, just too conservative. And Mariota had his bright spots in Tennessee. I mean, he's won a playoff game. I think what it comes down to is also just the coaching philosophy of Vrabel as far as this team's success moving forward. Not too many coaches have the resolve to say that they are willing to maim themselves for a Super Bowl trophy. If you don't believe me, look up the quote. But I am feeling very strong about the Tennessee Titans. I do have them finishing 10-6 as well. So tied with the Colts in that division.
Sounds like we're on the same page with the Titans. I like it.
maybe we're just varying degrees of success, whereas I'm at 10, you're at 11, and Dre's at 12.
Perfect.
I think that they're going to be among the top end of the teams in that conference, but there's going to be a lot of tough fights in that division in particular. Whenever the Titans match up with the Texans or the Colts match up with the Titans, you know it's going to be a bit of a dogfight. And I do think that that's going to cause all these teams to be right around that same level, more or less.